Hello and welcome along to the podcast today. We've got Efe Ohwofasa with us. He's a motivational speaker and a focus guru and a whole lot more. Efe, welcome.
Thank you very much, Martin. It's good to be here with you today. How are you doing today?
We're doing great, and I've got some questions to ask you, and I know you've got some valuable information to put out to the audience today. So, first of all, can you tell us a bit about your background and how you got into public speaking, which is what we're talking about today?
Public speaking is one of my best things in this whole wide world. Public speaking make me swim like a fish in the water when I have the privilege to speaking to people. I started my business. My background is hosting live events, going to speak to a group of people on how they could improve their lives, how they could grow their business, and how they could become a better leader. I've been doing this for over 15, 18 years now. And when I am on a stage sharing my story, sharing my expertise, or teaching people how they can improve their lives, grow their business, or become better, high quality leaders so that they can become more productive and influential, it gives me the great joy. I got involved in it when I was within 2020. I lost my dad. I didn't know what to do. And at some point, I got depressed about life. I lost everything regarding having a drive for life. But as along the line, I discovered personal development. And I wrote a book, and the book was about 32 pages. And there was a need for me to take that book to go and sell it to people and share the information in that book to people. But I had to speak to people. I haven't done that before. But along the line, somebody said, when you are obsessed about anything, there's no excuse that stops you. So I just went ahead to start speaking to colleges and young students. And from there, I started speaking to a wider audience. And in the process, when I was speaking to people, I found out that I love it. And I sold, I think the first thing I did, the first 12 months, I sold over 6,000 copies of that book within a period of 12 months. And it gave me a great honor that over the years, I have trained myself professionally to become a professional speaker. And now what I do here in the UK, I just go and train, speak, and conduct seminars and events with different professionals and entrepreneurs.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I'm always amazed at how you got started in these things. And today we want to talk about how to grab the attention of your audience. So, what inspired you to focus on audience engagement as a key aspect of public speaking?
That's a very good question. As a professional speaker, there are things, or even if you're not yet a professional speaker, as a speaker who have something you want to present to people, either in your office, in a business setting, in a meeting, there are things you need to know how to do so that you can pass across your message to the people. And one of them is the ability to get people's attention right from the very beginning. And the benefit of being able to get people's attention is that people will listen to you, they will pay attention to you, they will take instruction from you. And perhaps if you have something you want to sell to them, you'll be able to sell it to them. In my own case, being an entrepreneur, I had services abroad I was selling to people. So I had to master the act of getting people's attention. So one of the best way to get people's attention is, first of all, you have to prepare for the presentation, no matter how small it is, no matter how short the presentation is. And when you prepare, that you're not going on stage to just practice what you prepared for. One of the best way to get attention, there are different things you could do. Is either in the first 8 seconds, you start your presentation by either telling a story or giving a quote or asking a question. Let's start with the storytelling. When you tell a story, when people listen to story, they want to know what is next, and that gets people's attention. So when you present, when you come on stage to present, you have to ask yourself, if I'm going to tell a story to get people's attention, what story can I tell that is relevant to this audience, that's relevant to the purpose of you going to speak? So you figure that story and you say it very quick and short. Then the other thing you could do to use to get people's attention is, for example, you could ask a question. You begin by asking a very simple yet powerful question that is meaningful to the purpose of you going there to speak. And the question should be relevant to the people who are your audience. Like for me, most times, my audience are entrepreneurs. One of the things I do to get attention from the beginning of my presentation is ask some questions. And the question I ask has to do with them. Like entrepreneurs, they want to grow their business, they want to increase their sales, they want to work less, they want to make more money. So I find and ask myself, what questions around this desire of entrepreneurs can I ask? And what has worked for me the most was, or is when I go on stage, I will ask questions like this. I say, with a show of a hand, how many of you here would like to grow their business and increase their income in the next 6 months? And all of them, if not all of them, majority of them will raise their hand. Why? Because the question is relevant to the audience who are entrepreneurs. So you customize your question based on the audience you are speaking to. Another thing again is that to get the attention of audience right from the very beginning is you want to do a kind of a demonstration of anything you think that is relevant to the people. Anything that you think that is relevant to get it attention. For example, I did a demonstration somewhere. Again, the audience, they were business people. So when I came on stage, the first 8 seconds, I didn't speak to them. I said nothing. I looked at them. I brought my wallet out of my pocket and I brought my credit card out of my pocket and I raised it up for them. And I kept quiet. And I know majority of the entrepreneurs, there are people who are either using credit card or debit card. And I asked them, how many of you here have a credit card here or a debit card? They all raised their hands. And I said, how many of you would like to have more money sent to your credit card or debit card? They all raised their hand. So what I did was to use that demonstration to get their attention. Obviously, they want more money in their credit or debit card, so they engage with me. So right from the very beginning, I did that. They all focused on me, all their attention on me, and I got their attention. And from there, I went to the second stage of my presentation.
Wow, that certainly would grab their attention, and right from the start, because I think if you've got an opening line or introduction in a speech, you've got onto a winner already. And okay, that's getting their attention. Once you have the audience's attention, what strategies do you use to maintain their interest throughout your presentation?
There are different lot of strategy. One of them, make sure the content of what you're talking about is relevant to them. Number two, you must engage with the audience with your body language. Your body language is you use your hand to gesticulate. You use your eye contact with the audience. You move from one spot to the other if it's allowed to do, or if wherever you are. So your body language, the content of your message, your eye contact, the tone of your voice, these are techniques you use during the presentation that will make you to be engaging with them. And also, you want to speak with powerfully. Use your voice. Don't speak like somebody who is begging to get the attention of the audience. Stand upright. Look at the audience, eyeball to eyeball. Move from one corner of the room to the next corner of the room. And possibly, if you know the names of the people in the audience, use their name. Engage with the audience. Walk into the audience. Tap people on their shoulder. Look at people and face them maybe for a few seconds. You move away from there. And these little techniques, it makes you to connect with the audience and you engage with them. And when you connect with an audience, you could do anything with the audience. Maybe you have something you want to sell to them. Maybe you have an instruction you want them to listen to and to adhere to. With this engagement, you will achieve your goal.
How do you handle situations, though, where you notice the audience's attention is starting to wane during your call, during your presentation?
When you say when, does it mean when they are losing attention, you mean?
Yes, where they're starting to maybe look around or talk amongst themselves. You often see that when I'm doing a talk, sometimes it's my fault, but that you can see the attention isn't 100% on you. Are there any tricks or tips you can give us that would keep
E-
them or stop them doing that and they suddenly look up and think, hang on, I've got to listen to this?
Yeah. There are different techniques. It depends on the situation. Like for me, sometimes I just pause. I keep quiet for some few seconds. So they themselves, they will wonder what has gone wrong. Then they will not look at me. Then when I pause and I get their attention, then I may say something that relates to what they were doing. I said, some of you here are not paying attention. I believe you are here to grow your business and you increase your income. Is that still the case for you? They will say yes. Or sometimes I may raise my voice higher than how it has been before. That will get the attention. Or if somebody is really being troublesome and not engaging in the audience, I can pick the person up and call the person's name or walk towards where the person is or walk close to the person where the person is. And I'm talking, looking at the person will know I need his attention. So it depends on what call. But the thing is, you must be brave enough to be in charge of the room. You could do anything when you are in charge of the room.
Uh-huh. So what role do visuals such as slides or props play in keeping an audience's attention, and how can they be used to effectively used effectively but without becoming an attention distraction?
Yes, visuals are very good to get people's attention as well. But the problem is, or the mistake a lot of people do is that the text on the visual, sometimes if it's too much, people lose concentration. So it's just bullet points or photographs, or you draw objects and you just put few words, not more than 5 words to make a sentence or half a sentence. As you are talking, you are getting the attention to look or the audience. They just see a snippet, but to get the full understanding is you actually talking about it. So when you talk about the full understanding of what on the visual, that get the attention. So the mistake a lot of people will do is that the text is just too much. It's like you are reading a news or reading a book to them. People lose attention on that.
Hmm. So what are some interactive techniques that you use to involve the audience during your speech so that if they're doing something, they've got to be focused on you? Are there things special?
Yes, again, one of them is my body language, and you ask question. When you ask the audience question and you expect them to give you feedback. So you need to learn how to ask a very powerful short question that the audience may know, because sometimes the question, if it's not right, they will feel confused. If you ask good question that has to do with what you are talking about, the audience here will want to do that. And the way to do that, you could say, with a show of a hand, who here would want to do this? With a show of a hand here, who here has done this? With a show of a hand here. So you ask them a very engaging interactive question. You get them to do something, and that get them engaging as well.
Do you ever get them in circles in little groups to talk about something and then come back and find what they've discovered between talking with that sort of thing?
Yeah, it depends. If you are running a training and it's a workshop, because it is a different way where you present to people. If it is not a workshop, you may not be able to do that. But if you're running a workshop, you bring people together to work together in a team to discuss a topic or a subject matter. And one of the ways to engage them, you share the people into groups, let's say a group of 5 people, and you ask each group to discuss something specific that relates to the subject matter, and you get the other group to discuss something. And in between, ask each group to come up with someone to represent the group to talk about briefly about what we'll discuss in the group. So when the group take turn and they share what they will discuss, that engage the audience, that make them want to listen to what we discuss in that audience. And you as a speaker, you are in charge. You are the one asking them when to discuss, when to stop, and when to discuss to do whatever they need to do as a group. And that's a very powerful way of doing that.
So how do you balance interactive elements with delivering your core message in that case?
I think there are structure. Again, when it's time for you to talk about or to put in the audience in a group to discuss, you plan that. And that should be at the beginning of your presentation. You want to time it. First of all, you want to ask yourself, how long will my presentation last for? If it's going to last for 1 hour, You want to decide at what point do I want to bring this interactive group session in. It could be after 30 minutes. So at the beginning, you want to do what you need to do without the group interaction with you. And that's where you come with your opening, with your introduction, with your body. Then you now introduce the group discussion element with that. So again, what makes it more professional, you have to plan it and you work according to what you plan to do.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to know more about this fascinating subject?
Yeah, there's a link I'm going to put on this video at some point. I run my Speaker Success Formula podcast or training, I beg your pardon, a masterclass where people learn the 9-step formula of how to speak for success and also sell on stage and make money. So you could send me an email at info@efeohwofasa.com, or you could look to some of my videos on my website or YouTube. There are some free masterclass that I run. You could attend, and from there you get great value from it.
Okay, then if you could give one piece of advice to aspiring public speakers about grabbing and holding an audience's attention, what would it be, Efe?
It is being confident, prepare before you go on stage. Prepare what you're going to say. Prepare what you're going to do. If you're going to tell a story, practice the story a lot more time. If you're going to ask a question, practice the right question a lot more time, and just go and do whatever you plan to do.
Okay. And one more I was going to ask you earlier, but are there any common mistakes that you see speakers make in their attempts to engage the audience? But how can they avoid them? They see them coming. Are there tricks to avoiding it?
Yeah, the common mistake is to assume things.
Mhm.
The common mistake is not to prepare. The common mistake is to think, "Oh, I've been doing it before. I don't worry. I'm not gonna bother myself." Mistake. So every single opportunity you have, don't assume things.
Mhm.
Prepare. Even if something you've been doing before, prepare. Secondly, you must study the audience you want to speak to. You must study, like now, today is on Tuesday of this week. By this Saturday, I will be speaking to an audience as an MC and giving a keynote. And in the last few weeks, I have been studying members of the audience. The person I invite me, I say, who are the people coming in? And these are high dignitary. We have the mayor of Beaumont coming. We have the #1 citizen of Beaumont, Christchurch and Poole coming. We have the commissioner of Dorset, commissioner of crime, and it's coming. We have business people coming in. So I've been preparing and asking myself, what can I say that will be useful to this general public from diverse industry? What can I do that will be useful to these people? And I ask myself, what is common among these people? I've had that information and I'll be putting them in a logical way of what I need to say to get it out there right from the very beginning. So preparation is key. Don't assume you know it all. Each audience, each opportunity you have to speak, don't take it for granted. Prepare, practice, and study your audience.
So we've learned about techniques for grabbing attention, maintaining that engagement, storytelling, which Effie was telling us about earlier, and visuals, dealing with the different audiences, interactive elements, handling feedback and improvements. That's another thing that we've touched on. If you need to know more, and there is more, do get in touch with Efe Ohwofasa. He's a goldmine of information and he will make a success of your presentations. Efe, thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. Honestly, honor.